So let's talk about working remotely or hybrid or everyone in the office. And I don't believe that the leader is the one that has a right to choose, right? You have to figure out what's the best way for your team members to accomplish the goals that you need and the productivity that you need. And first you have to change on their mind, hey, I'm not working for time, I'm working for results. When someone comes into your office, in their mind, they said, I'm renting my time to you, and you're going to pay me $100 the hour, $200 the hour, or whatever the hour. They have a mindset of time for money. The first thing you have to do is change it for results. And say, hey, today you produce 5 units in 1 hour. How can we get you to produce 10 units in 1 hour? And by the way, instead of making $1, you're going to make $1.20, right? So you could figure that out. If you have a mindset in the company of results and what they need to accomplish, then everyone's going to be committed to their KPIs and the results. Once they have their KPIs, they're free to do whatever they want with the KPIs. Now tell my team members, hey, you could work wherever you want in the world. I don't care at what times you work. You have to be on the certain meetings that we're all together. But apart from that, you could do whatever you want. Indeed, I had my daily or my weekly on Monday, and there was this guy that his background was different. And I was like, where are you? Because I'm in this island in Greece. And I was like, what are you doing in Greece? And the guy said, I want to travel, so I went to Europe, and I've been in Europe for 3 weeks. I was not even aware he was living in Europe for the last 3 weeks, and he was in this remote island in Greece. I haven't realized because he's producing what he needs to produce. So I was happy there. In my team, because we do it that way, my team members usually travel a lot and they live. I have a lot of millennials and they love to work all over the world, and they continue to move. And by the way, if you're going to not be available at certain work times, you have to block on a calendar. And say, I'm going to be in a flight these 10 days, so I'm going to be away because I'm going to be doing something personal. Fine. But it's interesting when we have the typical off days, government days, my office probably staff 70, 80%, because they want to get to the goals and they want to be able to take the days that they want to take. And if that day they don't have anything important, they just work and get their job done. So the first thing is, what a growth mindset, they believe the future is going to be better than the past. Okay. A mindset that is not growing, that is stable or stuck, always tells you the good old days and talks about the past like the glorious moment. And they believe their best days were behind them. So that's the difference of a growth mindset or not. And the growth mindset, because they're excited about the future, they're excited to change, they're excited to improve, they're excited to learn, you could figure out, hey, this is who you have to grow to, and they will run and be excited about. The person that has a set mindset and thinks the past is the best, whatever you ask them about the future, oh, that's too difficult, it's impossible, I'm never going to be that, and blah, blah, blah. And by the way, some people have a predominantly growth mindset and some predominantly fixed mindset, but you have a mindset open depending on certain things. If you ask me something that I don't like, and you ask me to do it all the time or whatever, I'm not going to do it. Like, I have a very fixed mindset. If you ask me to learn piano today, that, by the way, I would love to learn the piano, be able to play a concert to my wife. It's something I love. I'm just, in my mind, I'm the worst pianist and I have no idea of how to read music. So if you obligate me to learn piano, I have a completely fixed mindset. Like, I'm never going to do it. But if you ask me about how to be a better CEO or how to build a learning organization, I love that. Just give me the material and I'll learn it and I'll grow and I'll go there. So we all have a fixed and growth mindset for certain things. But yes, there's people that predominantly have a fixed mindset and predominantly have a growth mindset. So how do you set KPIs with your team members? And when I implement scaling up in a company, I always tell them this. Don't go to your team and say, hey, I'm going to put some numbers on some KPIs to track how good you are and how much value you're bringing. You're dead. That's never going to work. You have to come to them and say, hey, I found a more mature way of leading teams and I learned, and I'm super excited because it will allow me to have more liberty, but most importantly, it's going to allow you to have more liberty. You could do whatever you want at the time that you want, as long as you get into your KPIs and you and I negotiated your development or what you're going to accomplish. And you should say, like, I'm going to be able to work at off hours. You're going to be on top of me all the time. And I was like, yes, what do I need to do? And they're super excited about it. So the way you sell it to them is very important. If you sell it in a way that is going to be beneficial for them, and you're very excited for them, they will love it and run with it. Some people are not going to like it. And by the way, usually at the beginning, everyone likes it. 3 weeks into it, you start getting a lot of complaints because they know they're going to fail. And instead of telling you I'm failing, they tell you the system is failing. It doesn't work, and they attack the system. They don't attack themselves. So usually everyone tells you at the beginning, I'm super excited. 3 weeks later, they start complaining. By the way, I tell the leadership team, the person that complains is going to be read in 2 or 3 weeks from now. And this is, what do you mean? And I was like, yeah, they know they're getting in trouble. And instead of telling you I'm getting in trouble, they attack the system. In 3 weeks, they're going to be in trouble. And they call me like, it just happened. It just went red. And I was like, yeah, it's going to happen because they're telling you that it's not working for them. Most likely, you're going to be able to teach them and help them get into the structure. And sometimes you're going to have to change them and bring some from the outside. And by the way, a friend tells me, hey, I love scaling up because every time I implement scaling up, makes everything floats. A lot of things float and they look amazing. And a lot of things float and they stink. You're going to immediately know who stinks. So here's why for me scaling up is so important. People said, hey, imagine I have a boat and I want to buy a really big engine, an amazing sailor and whatever, a sail and all that. And I was like, yeah, but if the whole of the boat is not aerodynamic, has holes, there's water, whatever you do on the top, you're going to be able to move the boat, but it's going to take you way more energy, a lot of drama, a lot of water is going to flow out, and that's all the drama that happened. First, fix the hull of the boat and make it super aerodynamic, cover all the holes, paint it, get all the water out. Now that it's in an amazing format, now get engine and sails and whatever we want on the top. But if the hull of the boat is not efficient, it's going to be a lot of mess moving the boat. So that's what scaling up is for me in any organization. Is the hull of the boat that makes everything else work better or more efficient. In scaling up, like in many other ways, you have a menu of ways or a lot of ways of learning it and implementing it. Since a book that you pay $15 for it in Amazon until getting a coach, top coach that comes into your company to do it for $250, let's say. But that's the range and everything in the middle. But here's where I think it's important. You have to understand what you want, what's your budget, and the cost goes up depending on three things. The first group, let's say, it's learning. And you could have learning with a book that it's a low, let's say, cost because the engagement is low. It's a book. It's self-paced. Whenever you want, it takes you 10 hours to read or 15 hours to read. And you can now ask questions, all that. And then the learning goes up depending on the experience and the amount of coachability and asking questions on the rest. But that's learning. Then the middle is something called done with you. And it's probably a coach or someone in the inside of scaling up platform to walk you through and do a little bit and coach you, and then you do it, but it's middle ground. And then you have the high end that you get a coach to do it for you. And we have coaches all over the world that go into your company, help you run your meetings, implement all the systems, get agendas, train your leaders, everything to make it work. So it goes up depending if it's learning, done with you or done for you. In Growth Institute, we have all the learning and a lot of coaching, but we are 250 independent coaches around the world, and each one has their own website. So the main website where you could figure out everything is scalingup.com. And in Growth Institute, you see the learning of scaling up.